You have seen a rainbow before, and your instinct was probably to point at it, to call someone over, to take a photo. For almost every modern human alive, a rainbow is one of the most purely pleasant things nature produces. Beautiful, harmless, brief. But for most of human history, that reaction would have been considered deeply wrong. In cultures across the world, across continents with no contact with each other, pointing at a rainbow was forbidden, discouraged, forbidden. And the fear of the rainbow was not decorative superstition. It was built on observation, experience, and a logical framework that made complete sense given what ancient humans knew and did not know. This is the story of why one of the most beautiful things in the sky was, for most of human history, something people genuinely feared. Let us start with what a rainbow actually is, seen through ancient eyes. You are standing in a prehistoric landscape. You have no physics, have no understanding of refraction or wave. You have no model of light as something that can be separated by water droplets. What you have is observation. And what observation tells you is this: the rainbow appears after storms. It appears at the boundary between the storm that just passed and the sky that follows it. It appears as something enormous, arching across the horizon, neither fully in the sky nor fully on the ground. It appears and disappears without any physical cause you can detect. No object creates it. No force you can identify moves it. It is simply there, and then it is not. To a mind without physics, this is not beautiful. It is deeply strange. And deeply strange things in the natural world, for ancient humans, were dangerous by default. Because in the natural world they inhabited, unusual phenomena almost always meant something. An unusual smell meant predator or fire. An unusual sound meant threat approaching. An unusual behavior in animals meant weather change or danger. The pattern was consistent enough that treating the unusual as suspicious was not superstition. It was rational risk management. Rainbow does not fit any natural category that ancient observation could produce. It is not a cloud. It is not a reflection. It is not fire or smoke or an animal. It is a massive, colorful arc that exists at no fixed distance, cannot be approached, and disappears before you can investigate it. For a brain running on pattern recognition and survival logic, the correct classification for something that defies every category is not beautiful. It is unknown. And unknown, in the ancient world, was almost always filed under dangerous. But the taboo against pointing specifically deserves its own examination, because across an enormous range of cultures, the prohibition was not just against fearing the rainbow, it was against pointing at it. The act itself, pointing. In many traditional belief systems, pointing is not a neutral gesture. It is a directional claim, declaration of relationship between yourself and the thing you point at. To point at something powerful was to invite its attention, to draw a line between yourself and it, to make yourself visible to it. In cultures where the rainbow was understood as a living entity, a deity, a snake, a bridge between worlds, a portal, pointing at it was not just rude. It was the equivalent of tapping a sleeping predator on the shoulder, making yourself known. And if the rainbow was dangerous, making yourself known to it was the last thing you wanted to do. The specific form the fear took varied enormously across cultures. But the fact of the fear appears again and again, independently. In many indigenous cultures of sub-Saharan Africa, the rainbow was associated with a cosmic serpent, a snake, of impossible size that arched across the sky. This figure appears in West African traditions, in Central African mythology, in the beliefs of groups across the continent who had no contact with each other. In each case, the rainbow serpent was not evil exactly, but it was immensely powerful, and you did not want its attention. You did not point. You did not speak of it directly. You looked away. In Australia, The rainbow serpent is one of the oldest continuous mythological traditions on Earth. Some estimates place elements of it at over 6,000 years old. The rainbow serpent was understood as one of the most powerful beings in the landscape, associated with water sources, with the creation of rivers and waterholes, with floods and drought. In some traditions, it slept beneath waterholes and the rainbow was its emergence. Pointing at it would be noticed, and being noticed by the rainbow serpent was not something you wanted. In the Andes, in the traditions of several indigenous cultures, the rainbow was associated with illness. It was understood as something that could enter the body. That proximity to the rainbow or careless behavior near it could cause disease, rash, swelling, or sudden death. In some of these traditions, if a rainbow appeared, you left the area. You covered your mouth. You did not breathe the air beneath it. You certainly did not point at it. In many European folklore traditions, a rainbow appearing over a house was a death omen. In some Scandinavian traditions, the rainbow was Bifrost, the bridge between the world of humans and the world of gods. And you did not casually gesture at the home of gods. In some Slavic folk traditions, the rainbow could drink from rivers and wells. If it reached into a water source near you, that water was changed. Touching it, drinking it, being near it was dangerous. Across Native American traditions, the rainbow appears in many forms. In some, it is protective. In others, it is a pathway used by supernatural beings. And in nearly all cases, deliberate respectful behavior around it was expected. It was not respectful. It was claiming familiarity with something that deserved distance. What is remarkable about this cross-cultural pattern is not just that the rainbow was feared. It is that the fear was independently generated. Cultures with no contact with each other, separated by oceans, by thousands of years, by completely different cosmologies, arrived at a similar behavioral response. Do not point. Do not draw its attention. Behave carefully in its presence. This convergence is not coincidence. It reflects something real about the rainbow that ancient observation consistently produced. The rainbow appears unpredictably. It has no fixed location. It cannot be approached. It appears at the transition between storm and calm. And in cultures that understood illness and misfortune as things that came from outside the self, from the environment, from powerful entities in the landscape, the rainbow fit the profile exactly. It was large. It was strange. It appeared during or after dangerous weather. It was impossible to understand through ordinary means. The fear of the rainbow was not primitive failure to understand physics. It was a consistent, logical response to a phenomenon that defied every available explanatory framework. And it lasted, in many cultures, for thousands of years. Because it did not kill anyone. The people who feared rainbows survived at the same rate as anyone else. So the fear was never contradicted by experience. Nobody pointed at the rainbow and died immediately. But nobody proved it was safe either. And in the ancient calculus of risk, if the cost of caution is low and the potential cost of carelessness is unknown, you are cautious. You do not point. You do not look directly. You wait for it to leave. And then you go about your day. What changed was not human intelligence. What changed was the availability of an explanation. Once you understand refraction, once you understand that a rainbow is sunlight passing through water droplets at a specific angle, producing different wavelengths that the human eye perceives as distinct colors, the mystery resolves. And with the mystery resolved, the fear dissolves. The rainbow becomes beautiful. It becomes a phenomenon you photograph and share. It becomes something you point at without a second thought. But that ease, that casualness, that complete absence of caution is a very recent development and a very long human story. For most of the time humans have existed on this planet, the correct response to a rainbow was not to point. It was to look away, to speak quietly, to wait for it to pass. and to be grateful when it did. Drop a comment and tell me which part of this changed the way you see rainbows, and make sure you are subscribed because next time we are going somewhere even stranger than this.